Hey everybody, Hosh here. Long time no see. We we've had a minute without bees. The barometric pressure has really dropped here, and there was a storm front kind of moving in through the Midwest. We didn't get any of that, but the bees got real quiet. So that means we've got too much time on our hands. No, we're keeping busy. We're keeping busy, but anyway, we've got something kind of special today. A little silly. Hey, Ramona. Hey, Matt. Tim. Nice. Hey, Paul. Yep. We got yeah, we're gonna leave the comments on TikTok today, and we'll see what happens with that. We're live on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube. Hey, Amy. Welcome. Thanks for being with us, everybody. So yeah, we've got something. Well, for now, I hope they spank us again in the future. Anyway, I'm just waiting for Reed here. He'll be with us in just a second. Wanted to get everybody on and going and kind of get everybody gathered in. We've got something a little different planned for you today. Oh, hey Lynn, great, thanks for joining. Oh, here, he's coming here. So anyway, welcome, thanks for being with us.
It's a venomous day in the neighborhood. A stinging good day in the neighborhood. They're under your shed. They'll kill your dog dead. Hi, Killer Bee Nation. Just got back from a big bee hunt. You'll never guess. Yeah, it worked. Oh my God, I tell you, they're everywhere. We had to use not buckshot, but BBs. Yeah, we got them too. Oh, it's exhausting, this killer bee removal service. Oh my goodness sake. I don't know how we do it. How do we do it, Hosh? I don't know how we do it.
We limp our way through it.
We limp our way through it. And so here we are, live from the hive. That's right. Hi, Killer Bee Nation. Yes, okay. I gotta go. I didn't know we were gonna be going live right now. Oh my God, I just feel so, embarrassed. Oh my God. Well, welcome anyway. Yeah, we're going to talk about this. I didn't put all that there. No, these bees are so weird. They will do anything. And they will infest your town. All right? I'm serious. Even if it's tiny town. Look at that, everyone. Yes, indeed. This is Killer Bee and Crafts. That's right. Killer Bees and Crafts. We're going to have some fun today. We're gonna infest our own Wild West town with killer bees, as if there aren't enough of that happening around here already. But we're gonna since it's been a little bit slow with the bees. They, as everyone knows, we've had it's been actually cold, and we've had some barometric pressure happening here. And so, for some reason, even though these damn bees didn't care about doing this in the winter, in the snow. For some reason, when the barometric pressure drops a little bit, and it drops 10 degrees, they go, ugh. So I don't know what the hell is going on with these things. But we are going to be talking about it a lot right now. Now, it's been a few days since we did a live stream, and Hosh and I have been busy anyway, doing stuff around the ranch, of course, as usual. And as everybody knows, he's a newlywed, with a little baby, and a bunch of goats and shit. So we're busy no matter what we're doing. But for those of you new to the hive, I'm Reed Booth, Killer Bee Guy. We got Hosh on camera action and general all-around bee knowledge. Say good morning, Hosh.
Hey everybody, good morning.
Good morning somewhere, right? Welcome. And to those of you that are members of the hive, thank you so much for joining us. We're just getting started. Now we're going live. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. All right. We're getting a lot of new fans and a lot of new viewers on all three platforms, actually. And so what we really want to do is educate people about not only killer bees, but bees in general. All right, we're not talking just killer bees or just honeybees, but there are different types of bees. Most people, when they say save the bees, well, they're thinking honeybees, of course, because we grew up with Winnie the Pooh and all that shit, right? Well, we're going to do some clarification here, and I'd like to start this off with a huge statement that's going to shock a lot of people and throw a lot of people off, but it's a fact. And so I want to base this conversation about honeybees and invasive species on this statement, and that is that honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. That's right. Let that sink in for a second. Honeybees. Now there's now honeybees are the only bees that make honey. Bumblebees don't make honey. Western hornets don't make honey, etc. But honeybees don't belong here. There were no honeybees in the state of Arizona until 1872. Yeah, that's right. You know, and people always, of course, and everybody's thinking this out there, and more people join us. Those of you that have been with us and know what the situation is with this, feel free to comment and whatnot. And we're going to be adding some moderators too, so that we aren't spending all of our damn time blocking assholes and whatnot, because we know they're out there. We don't care. They're going to have to move out of their mother's basement at some point. But they're just there to troll and hurt people. And we're not. We're here to educate and help people. So those of you that are with us, the Killer Bee Nation, thank you so much for joining us. We've been having, as you know, the last couple, 3 weeks or month, right, Hosh? Like a month at least. It's been crazy. I mean, it's been insane. As you guys know, you've watched the videos, you've seen them. If you haven't, go watch them. The long play vids are on YouTube mostly, Facebook now also, but and of course shorts on TikTok. And we watch our pinned vids on TikTok also. Get some more info about this. But let's go back to it. Honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. Wait, aren't we going to die without honeybees? No, we're not. People lived in the Western Hemisphere for eons without honeybees. We do need honeybees for big agriculture. Yeah, let that sink in too, right? So, yeah, let's go ahead and get set up here. We're gonna, let's go to Old West Town, everybody. Look at what we got going on here. Now, of course, okay, I went to it for, I didn't build this damn thing. I don't have that kind of time, and I wouldn't anyway. Someone did. I mean, put a lot of love into it, obviously. We have our saloon, all right, and our country store where, of course, they sell killer bee honey. Anyway, and tomahawks that are covered in comb, which we'll talk about this in a little bit. You can see the video where we found this, actually. What did we call that, Hosh?
That
Willies.
was Willies, where bees live in my RV and love my willy.
Yeah, and bees love my willy. Mm-hmm. Because it was a Willie's
That's
Jeep.
way back in the archives.
That was a year ago.
Yeah.
Around a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah. Mean ass bees, horrible. 2 big ass hives. Anyway, you guys can go see it. This is where this tomahawk, that's comb. That's actual comb on the tomahawk that they built around. They build around objects. They don't move them. We'll talk about this in a little bit and how cool this is. We have something else to show you too. But Wild West Town, these killer bees will invade everywhere. So I went to a thrift store, of course, and saw this, and I thought, because we have a store in Bisbee and one in Tombstone. Well, the store in Tombstone, Killer Bee Honey, is bigger and has more display space. So I thought, well, ain't this just adorable for Tombstone, Arizona? But wouldn't it be a lot more adorable if it was covered in killer bees? So while we're chatting with you and answering questions and just having general debauchery and fun and shenanigans, we're going to be infesting our own killer bee town with killer bees. Oh, look at that. They're already swarming. It's horrible.
Yeah, that is what a swarm looks like.
And that is what a swarm looks like
When
if
it's
they're on the
moving-
ground. If
when
they're
it's
on a
moving.
formica table. That's exactly what they look like if they're on a formica table. So, who all we got with us, Osh?
Oh, the whole gang's here.
Oh, right.
On YouTube.
Welcome, you guys. I know we've been dry for a few days. The bees have been taking a break, which honestly is fine with me because I think most of you were there when you saw me and I'm about dead. Now thank God for those cooling vests that Don got us. Oh my God. Literally saving our lives. We got some really cool patches in today from Lee. What else do we get from Lee? Oh, that car charger.
Oh yeah, thank
That's
you,
going to
Lee.
be so awesome.
That's a big one.
I want to
Thank
thank you guys so much for sending us stuff. And someone did ask, do you have an Amazon wish list? And so we've been kind of thinking about that. This is all new to us. We're not used to this.
Yes,
But
I wish I was in the Amazon.
you wish you were in the Amazon? Yeah. Well, we'll just leave that one alone for now. They have killer bees there, host.
They do, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, thanks to the import in 1957.
Exactly. It's all, yeah, it's the Brazilian government's fault, actually.
I would actually be curious.
You want to set that up there?
Yeah, I will.
Get
I would
chatting
be
with folks.
I would be curious as to what is going on in the Amazon and what impact killer bees have
That
had
would be a really interesting study.
on the biome
I
there.
don't. Well, we think we're pretty damn sure what it's doing to the native pollinators. Okay, we're going to be switching the lenses around so you can watch both of us at once. So
Yeah.
stick with us, you guys. Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And if anybody wants to become a member, here we go. Look at this, the Wild West. I'll tell you right now, damn bees. So.
Come over a little bit so we get you in the TikTok.
Oh, there we go. Oh, hey guys, there we are. Oh, look at that. Bring your chair over, Hosh. We got shit to do here. We have to solve some problems. Yes, we must solve some serious problems. Welcome to the hive, everyone. Hey, how come you got the saloon?
You want to switch?
No, those days are over. So anyway, so we're gonna just be while we're chatting and grab a water while we're chatting. Now these little bees, I don't know if you guys can see them or not, but they're really tiny, but they're actual little hand carved or little hand painted. I don't know. They're little bees. What the hell? I thought, of course, it'd be ridiculous enough for us to stick bees on our Wild West town while we're talking to folks. Can you see any comments coming out of that? I can't see that far.
No.
Ah!
No.
I think you can see them pretty good. Or where can you order Killer Bee Honey? KillerBeeGuy.com. Thank you for asking. Okay, we're going to begin the invasion now of the killer bees here, everyone. I got a killer bee right here. I think I'm going to start on this barrel because, I've actually removed a few hives from wine barrels at wineries here. That means killer bees will live in any damn thing. It's just ridiculous. And so I remember, now that you're going to love this actually, because they were in a cask, like this little cask here, Okay, we got a little cask, now it has a killer bee on it. Oh, I'm scared already. And the cask was a wine cask. What are you snickering about over there? And so, but the bees were coming and going out of the bunghole. I ain't making this shit up, okay? I'm serious.
That's
yeah,
funny.
coming and going out of the bunghole.
Where was this?
This was actually, there have been a few of them.
Sure.
I have wine barrels out at the ranch here. We have, dog houses, bird houses, barbecues. I mean, just, all
Right.
sorts of shit that people, because when killer bees are living in something that we can take away, remove, and mitigate the threat, take it away, just bring it back and get it out of their yard, get it away from their ranch or whatever, we do. If it's in a wall in their house, then we can't do that. But I have barbecues. I even have a hot tub. Yes, a couple of them, 2 or 3 actually, because bees get into them. And I got to tell the folks, hot tubs are a pain in the ass because when they're full of bees. Other than that, they're absolutely wonderful. When they're full of bees, they're a real pain in the ass. Hosh is busy over there placing bees. Yeah, place them over here so people can see what you're doing. Because nobody can see you over there.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they thought you went out for a restroom
they can
break,
see
and we
them
just
on
got
the-
started.
On these two, but not
You
this
made me
one.
dizzy there. Hold still, God damn it. Anyway, so they'll live in anything, and so I actually have a couple of wine barrels out here that didn't have any wine in them anymore. They didn't have these damn bees. So welcome everyone. If you're new to the nation, I'm Reed Booth, Killer Bee Guy, and Hosh over here. You're trying to kill a horse? Look at this. He's putting killer bees on the damn horse already, huh? So we just thought that at the store in Tombstone, because there's room for this nice little display. Oh my God, we are so sick. To cover it in killer bees and take it to the store, and have it as a display. It's just how we are, So it's just ridiculous. But I do want to show everybody something really cool because these killer bees. We'll get back to the native species thing and all that. But I just want to show you how weird these bees are. Now, when they build in something, whatever it is, they work around whatever is already existing there. They work around it. For instance, like in a closet, all right, I removed bees from a closet, and there were still clothes, and this place had been abandoned for years and whatnot. And the bees had built all their comb and everything around the clothes, all right, around. So you can see, hold that a little closer so everybody can see it, Hosh, and as you're holding it, I'll explain it. So yeah, and then up on TikTok, and you know, we had to move it around a little bit. Okay, that is honeycomb, everyone. That the bees attached to this hatchet. They do not move things. Now, of course, a hatchet is a pretty heavy thing, but they do not even move clothing. They do not move leaves, even on trees and branches. They don't move them. They build around them. It's cooler than hell. I've seen them build in like pockets, you know, of shirts and whatnot, and folds of clothes. It just build the comb around like that. Now, here's another weird thing that we find. You guys are going to be floored by this, and I don't find many, but I've talked about it before. Where did you know the Egyptians learned how to mummify their dead partially from bees? Yeah, they used honey and mainly propolis. Now, propolis, when bees go out in the field, they collect 4 things and bring back from the field. Everybody thinks it's just 2, right? Nectar and pollen. The nectar they turn into honey. Duh. So, but they also bring back water. Okay, everything needs water. They also bring back tree sap in the winter from usually junipers around here, evergreens, that they turn into propolis, that is the glue that holds the hive together. And so, if something dies in the hive, if a bee dies in the hive, well, then they just take it out and drop it in the field. There's no cemetery in the hive, all right? No crematorium either, no beematorium. I'm amazing. All right, so Hosh is hiding over there. Nobody can even see you.
I know. I thought about
better
working
for them.
this way, but
oh, you're working. Well, it'll take you a week.
Yeah, right.
Anyway. So they bring that whenever like a bee dies in the hive, they take it out and drop it in the field. All right. Any debris that they can move, even dust particles, they take out of the hive. Because a beehive is one of the most fastidious things on the planet. Even bacteria cannot live in honey. Yes, that's right. So whatever they built in, the actual comb itself, even though the surroundings might not be very clean, the comb and the honey itself, spotless. Even no bacteria. All right. So the Egyptians took this propolis and they would use it to mummify their dead. How did they learn that shit? Well, if say something gets in the hive, like a rodent or a snake or a bird, they will kill it. But they can't move it out, it's too big. Okay? So you know what they do? You're gonna be shocked by this shit. They mummify it. Host, you want to show everybody this?
yeah.
Now this we think is
Where did that come from? That came from was that De Cristo? Where we were out there at De
it might have been
Cristo?
Camino de Cristo.
Under the double wire.
And so
out there,
this
look
is
at
a mummified corpse skeleton of a rodent. All right, and you can see, I'm going to hold this up to each of the lenses. There's the teeth, the skull. All right, I'm going to show this to, there's the teeth, the skull. You see that, everyone? So that is the rest of the varmint here, and the skull. See, this is the rib cage, so it went like this. Oh yeah, you want to show everybody that over on TikTok also?
Yeah.
So that is the rodent that they killed in a hive. It could be a squirrel. I don't know what it is. Could have been big rat.
Totally mummified.
Totally
It's
mummified.
actually
the skin on
it's
it.
actually sticky to touch on the top.
Well,
It's
the
tacky.
propolis. The
right here.
propolis will be a little bit sticky, of course. And they built that comb around that. Now, what realistically happened, and show them the comb, show everybody the comb some more, as I want to explain that, is this was down below the hive itself. All right, in a underneath a trailer, in the insulation that was underneath the comb. So they killed the rodent, it's there, and in an old hive, comb falls. It's just a natural thing. If something if it gets too hot or something falls down, or for some reason the hive goes abandoned for 6 months or a year or a couple of years or something, which does happen, and a new swarm moves in, well, some of that comb will fall. So wherever the comb has fallen, they still take care of it, okay? But they clean it. It's super clean. So they still take care of it. So they attached this with propolis to this leather of this critter. So this is an embalmed, there's his foot.
Yeah,
You see
partially.
that? Partially. They attached it and still take care of it. They just don't use it. They don't fill it up with propolis or pollen or honey or because in a beehive, the sections to the hive there's 3 of them, where they store the honey, where they store the pollen, and where they raise the babies. But if the hive has fallen and they've attached it to something like this hatchet, here we are back with this, they don't use it, they just keep it clean, because everything in a beehive is super fastidious. Man, I wish that if they had a house cleaning business, I would hire them out. I would, because they're that clean, bacteria even. So that is some really, really cool shit that these bees do. It's just amazing how they are in all their ways. Now, back to the actual bees. Back to Hosha's really doing an invasion here, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's good.
Well, in lieu of having bee jobs.
And we create our own, right? Because now we're expecting the phone to ring. It's still cool out.
I'm anticipating some jobs this weekend.
Probably this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're on call. All right. We now, of course, we can go bee hunting. We just haven't because we had too much shit to do around here at the ranch, and like Hosha has nothing to do at home, with a new baby and all that good stuff. How is the new baby doing, Hosha?
Oh, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only got up once last night to nurse.
Yeah, but it was for 4 hours, right?
No, no. No, he got up, nursed, and went back to sleep. That was pretty cool.
All right, right on. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder you're so perky today. What the hell? Anyway. So we got a lot of shit done, but it's going to be warming up, so it should be like 90 the next week. It's going to be a lot hotter than that in lower elevations around here. Even Sierra Vista will be 95 and whatnot, probably 100 in Douglas. Man, the bees just love that shit. So
Yeah.
So Hosh is busy creating our own emergency here with these bees.
Yes.
Yep.
We're manufacturing a crisis.
Manufacturing a crisis. Jeez, I guess that's what most humans do all the damn time anyway, right? It seems like it, isn't it?
Well, and that's what killer bees are, right? They're a manufactured
Well, they
crisis.
actually are a manufacturer. They're created.
Right.
Yes, I'd like to shake the hand of that man. Anyway, that's just me personally speaking. But, these bees were created, actually. Africanized bees were created. And they, if you guys don't know the story, in 1957, at the request of the Brazilian government, a Dr. Warwick Kerr went to South Africa to procure pure African queen bees for experiments in crossbreeding. Why the hell would he do that, right? Well, they knew that the African bee, okay, you got African and European. They knew the African bee was a much better producer of honey than the European bee, and a lot more disease resistant, because European bees, especially in jungle conditions, are for shit.
Yeah, Brazil was trying to manufacture honey.
Yeah,
at like an industrial level.
They were actually trying. Well, they were trying to become a player on the world scene with honey production, and they are now because of Africanization. But they thought,
I think they're like fourth in the world or something.
Yeah, they're fourth or fifth.
Okay.
Or, they were before. I think they're down to ninth now.
Yeah.
But still, in the world, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. So they knew that the African bee was a better producer and disease resistant. Okay, awesome. If we crossbreed them with our nice bees, won't we get something that is like a super gentle, really nice bee? Because the African bee, not Africanized, African bee is more aggressive, but nothing like, they're kind of like a real pissy Russian bee, because there are many different types of European bees. There's Russians, Carnolians, Germans, Italians, it goes on and on and on. And some of them can be kind of pissy. So the African bee was known to be a little bit more pissy. So they thought, well, maybe if we crossbreed them, we're going to get the favorable parts of the African bee, like the really good honey production and the disease resistance, and maybe the gentleness of the European bee. Well, what they didn't see coming was the crossbreed created a super bee. Literally, it's a Franken bee, but it's a super bee. And these bees are insane, as anybody knows, but they did not see the aggression coming. They did not see it. Of course, they probably would have never ever done it. I'm going to rotate this around a little bit here. We'll get a different view of the hive. There, how's that look? There you go. Yeah, that's better. So anyway, so they didn't know they'd be so damned aggressive. Well, they are, as everyone knows. They're absolutely the worst thing in the world. They're horrible. And then, of course, they didn't escape. They were let out. I know it's a pain in the ass. Some new guy at the facility. I mean, the doctor, Warwick Kerr, he was a very responsible scientist and doing it right. But some new guy didn't read the manual, go to the safety meeting that morning, and he did something that let out the bees, and they escaped, of course, and they swarmed, and so they spread out, and now they're better at everything. So wherever they move into, they not only take over where European bees are, they also take over where native pollinators are. So we're going to be going into that more because that's a real sticky point with people. So anyway, how they got here, we'll finish that up and then go more into the native pollinator thing. They spread out in every direction in the jungles at about 300 miles a year. And of course, going south and west from Brazil, it's not that big of a deal. But north, yeah, you have to go through the Isthmus of Panama, where they tried to stop them. Didn't work. And
it was in the 80s, I remember that.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah, when they tried to stop them.
That was happening.
Yeah, that's right. And they hitchhiked on boats and planes and trains and automobiles. So they couldn't stop them at the Isthmus of Panama. They came into Texas in about 91. Arizona about 1993, and I was actually keeping bees here at the ranch back then. For about 5 to 8 years, I had European bees, and just loved it. I mean, they were honeybees, and they gave us honey, and they were nice. Right? They were nice, so that was the deal. I could take a bottle of wine down to my hives down here and by the road, and still on the ranch, but by the road. And, sit and watch them come and go from the hive. It was all romantic as fuck. It was awesome, right? Well, then the Africanized came in. And instead of just, every beekeeper that I know, the intelligent ones anyway, just simply stopped. They were like, this is bullshit. They're way too aggressive. I can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah, because they were taking over their hives, right?
That's correct, yes. They were taking over it took over my hives. They took over everyone's hives. And we'll get to that also, why you shouldn't keep bees, anywhere anymore. It's going to rub some feathers right there. But why you shouldn't keep bees in the desert southwest for sure, because it's next to impossible to keep them from becoming Africanized. All right, we'll talk about that.
Now, are you talking primarily to hobby beekeepers?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Good question, actually. Because you see the professionals, the big guys, the guys that haul bees around for pollination, it's a business. They got it under control. They know exactly what they're doing. They breed their own bees in-house. They don't need wild bees. They don't want them. Okay. Now, hobby beekeepers, on the other hand, the romance is still there. It's still very prevalent, and there's a few myths that are ingrained into our beings that are misleading at best. And that is that we'll die without honeybees, and that they help with pollination. Okay, they help themselves to pollination. Our trees and our plants, anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, do not need honeybees for pollination. Okay, guys? I know this is a hard one to swallow. Do you want to take a minute and see if we can catch anybody commenting and see if we have any good...
Sure.
I just saw someone said, time to call my exterminator. Well, yeah, it might be. Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they came into Arizona, and I had my hives down here. I don't know, 20 or 30 at a time. I can't remember, something like that. And when the Africanized took over, big changes happened. Fascinating stuff coming from a beekeeping standpoint. As in, they would start working on a full moon at night. what in the hell is that about?
That's pretty cool.
That it was really cool, and they weren't as aggressive back then as they are now.
The Africanized bees weren't as hostile
Aggressive.
at
They have
first.
adapted and changed and gotten worse.
Meaner and meaner.
They change every year. Actually, I've been saying for the last few years, I got to keep up on my game every
Right.
year because
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't know what the hell we're getting into.
Well, I mean, we've already seen some interesting things even just this year,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Absolutely.
most recently, one of the things has been the proliferation of drones, just drones all over the place. I mean,
Well, that is a really weird one. Drones are the males. They're the males of the honeybee world, and they don't have stingers. They can't sting. In fact, did you know that any male of any bee species, native pollinator, bumblebees, wasps, hornets, whatever, can't sting? None of them. Only the worker females can sting. And of course, and now honeybees are the only ones that have barbs on their stingers. So they can only sting once because it's like a fish hook. It sticks into your skin. And it's literally like a hypodermic needle. So when you get stung, that's why we say scrape that stinger out. Don't pinch it out, because if you pinch it out, it's a hypo, you get a full dose. So that's why we say scrape the damn stinger out. But of course, as everybody knows, wasps and hornets, bam, 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 they can hit you over and over again because they don't have any barbs on their stingers. So anyway, I used to, when I finally decided to give up beekeeping, and so of course all you're going, well, how do they get all that nice, beautiful honeycomb they get? Well, if you've watched a couple of our vids, you know where I'm going with that. But I got to tell you this funny thing because I still snicker at it because nobody got in trouble, me primarily. But I used to watch clouds of my bees chase cars down Highway 80. Yeah. So they were not only working on a full moon and at lower temperatures. It used to be 50 degrees with European bees, and they were in watching movies. They didn't want nothing to do with it. So the Africanized come in. And I noticed in the beginning that they would work at 45 degrees. Well, then a few years later, it dropped to 40. Then a few years after that, it dropped into the 30s. What the hell? Now, anything above freezing. And they're out farting around. It's just baffling to me.
and the farting is the worst part.
Yeah, farting around. It really is, because there's no cure. There's no cure.
So, just a minute, when we talk about native pollinators, we're talking about pollinators that evolved alongside the native plants.
So everybody can see you here.
Right, so pollinators that evolved alongside native plants, so over millions of years or however long it's been, that's an educated guess. You've got your plant species and your pollinators, and they're running in parallel evolutionary strains, and they help each other out, right? But you're introducing this whole other thing, namely honeybees, to the Western Hemisphere. It was brought here by the colonists in the 1600s. It disrupts everything, but it wasn't as big a deal until Africanization occurred. Once Africanization starts, then you've got these feral, crazy swarms going all over the place, robbing and pillaging. I mean, they're berserkers. They're Viking berserkers. And so now we've actually got a problem because our pollinators were already at risk from pesticides and, overbuilding and, environmental, buildings coming in and environments, microbiomes getting screwed up and stuff. And now you're dealing with this whole invasive species that's coming in and disrupting everything. And so it's really, really important to cognize that we don't need honeybees. Big agriculture needs honeybees, and they're going to continue to have them because you have professional beekeepers that are keeping those almond orchards stocked, that are keeping those blueberry orchards stocked. And that's what they do. They relate to these bees like livestock. They move them around and do this. And, monocropping and monoculture, that's an issue in of itself. And any environmentalist, will tell you it's not great for the environment, especially as there are more and more of these things going on. But what we're talking about most significantly is the threat and the wild factor, right? Where you've got these feral pollinators, these feral hives rolling around and soaking up the pollen and doing what they're doing and disrupting the lives of bumblebees, of wasps, of woodcutters, of carpenter bees, of mason bees, all of this kind of thing. So it's very disruptive to the environment, and you got to get this. So you can't be a bee hugger and an environmentalist at the same time. And when I say a bee
Right.
hugger, I mean a honeybee hugger.
Right.
You can't keep a honeybee hive and be an environmentalist. It's a conflict of interest.
Yeah. In this hemisphere.
In this hemisphere, if we're in Europe, it's a different thing. If we're in Africa, it's a different thing. In Asia, it's a different thing. But in the Americas, you can't do that because you're basically fostering an invasive species at that point. Which then what you're doing is you're disrupting biodiversity at that point, and starving the native plants from the proper pollinators, because pollination.
Tell them about the frequency.
Yeah.
Because that's really cooler
Yeah.
than hell about that. We'll give the Wild West a little break here, and because I want you guys to hear this. This is really cool. Oh, what happened to our?
No. It just went
Hold
off.
on, we're gonna see what the hell's going on with our.
I think it overheated.
It didn't overheat. We're inside. I think it's a battery operation. Hold on a second, guys. We just lost our.
So
Facebook
basically,
feed.
when pollinators buzz, and most of them do, when bees buzz, those frequencies are not there for entertainment. And they're not doing it for fun. They hum like that so that the flowers open and begin to produce nectar. So bumblebees vibrate at a certain frequency, that low drone, right? And there are certain plants, certain flowers that evolved alongside the bumblebee that then it coaxes them open. They begin to produce nectar. Melon bees are the same. So there's a lot of native species that a bumblebee or a honeybee can't pollinate. And because their frequency is different. They evolved alongside certain plants that are not native to this hemisphere. Now, bee for bee, they're just not as effective as our native pollinators at pollinating our native plants. That's the bottom line. So pollination is not simple. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a lock and key model. And so the bottom line is, again, if you're pro honeybee, then you're not supporting our native pollinators.
Right.
You're not supporting our native plants.
This is a real problem that we have with, and we catch a shitload of flack, as you guys know. All right, from beekeepers actually.
Put this up here.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we can put it up somewhere here so we can. There we go. So anyway, we catch a shitload of flack because we kill honeybees. Okay, my God Almighty. First of all, that's really a hard thing for people to realize, is that honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. All right, let's delve into this a little bit because it's such a sensitive subject. And beekeepers out there are rolling their eyes and just saying, "Oh, we're spreading false information and shit." Do your research. I'm not your secretary. Do your research and figure it out. And I'm sorry, but we lost Facebook. So anybody that will, hopefully a bunch of people will jump on to YouTube and whatnot from Facebook. So keeping honeybees. Now, the big romance around honeybees is, of course, not just they're nice and they give us honey. That's awesome, of course, right? But they help our native or our plants. So everybody thinks that if you have honeybees in your hold on, guys, IT problems. I was going to tilt that TikTok in a little bit. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, there you go.
Or just there we go. So anyway, everybody thinks, if I have a beehive in my backyard, it's going to benefit my surrounding environment right there and help everybody for pollination and whatnot. That's in the Western Hemisphere. That's a complete fallacy. I'm sorry to say, it's not the way it is. Honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. So at the end of our YouTube vids, I really want you guys to go check this out. We have a map, and it's in the credits section thing there. And it is a map of the invasion of honeybees, European honeybees, from east to west. Not north to south or south to north, like Africanized, but from east to west. So before the early 1600s, there were no honeybees. This is documented. There were no honeybees in the Western Hemisphere. None.
And so, like Hosh was saying, the plants that were here before that evolved side by side with their native pollinators, and that's whether it's bees, moths, a lot of different types of insects, even some birds, Mexican free-tailed bats. Bats are big pollinators, so they all evolved together. So then this invasive species comes in, the European honeybees, and really puts a real problem for our native pollinators. Then the Africanization comes in and just throws a wrench in the whole damn thing. Just horrible. So the Africanization, Africanized bees are so aggressive and so competitive for not only housing but food source primarily because they're hoarders. That's what honey is. They hoard more than they need. That's what we as beekeepers take off the hive. But what they're doing is stealing it from native pollinators. Yeah. And so it's been documented Africanized bees chasing off or killing native pollinators off of flowers. Now, they'll kill each other on flowers if they're from different hives. They'll kill European bees in a moment. European honeybees, kill them in a moment. They're just weaklings to them. These Africanized bees are simply Vikings. They're straight up Vikings. So, of course, and a lot of people, ask and say, why don't you requeen? It works. There's no doubt about it. For about a week, it's a temporary fix. And way too many beekeepers around here, well, around the country, are going to be finding out. Now, everybody finds it out here that keeps bees. Because you'll have to import. I know of one couple, that old ranch couple, who the hell was telling us about that in New Mexico, that imports their queens from Europe?
Yeah.
Because they were getting 3-pound swarms from California, supposed to be guaranteed European, and they were arriving Africanized.
And they stung her unconscious, right?
Stung her unconscious. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't tell. You can't tell by looking.
No, that's a huge problem for the amateur beekeeper. All right, the big boys, like we were saying, it's a business for them. They're ranchers, basically.
Yeah.
And they're ranching. They're farmers. They're farming out bees to farmers.
Yeah, professional beekeepers, they'll just put a hive down if it gets too hot. They don't care.
Oh, they don't care. They're just farm animals.
They're just the hive gets too hot and they'll
They're
destroy
insects.
it. They'll destroy it, and they all have their different methods for doing that, for putting it down quick, but they'll just destroy it. It's your hobby beekeeper that's got a beehive, on your block.
Yeah.
And they're virtue signaling, and they've got their politics or whatever, and they've got their
virtue
right,
signaling,
and their whole narrative that they're plugged into, and the reality is they're rolling out the red carpet for Africanized bees. They're rolling out the red carpet for killer bees.
Because those bees, it's becoming now a lot of our Killer Bee Nation. I want to thank you guys so much for sending us news clips that are isolated. They're from your neck of the woods. They're from your region, from your town, say from your city, from your local news, news station or newspaper. But they don't get out here. They don't get across the whole country. There are reports every single day now of attacks by honeybees that you never hear about. They almost shut down an Africanized swarm. Almost shut down the Indy 500.
And that's a crying shame.
It is. I'm not a big race car fan. I don't know, whatever. It is? Really? Okay, whatever. I've got to get my tissue. I know, I'm so sad. No, and it showed the swarm flying in and people running around, and they were getting stung. So, and that guy in California, that cop.
Oh God.
Yeah, the volunteer
that
cop.
Disabled
that
guy
was
too.
a nightmare to watch. The guy in the wheelchair with the dog. I mean, there's attacks in your neighborhood all the time now. So if you hear of that, please forward us some info, because there is no way to compile anymore all of the info that's out there about killer bee attacks, primarily because there's no funding for it.
Right.
Boils down to funding. That's all it is. No governmental agency, no university, no extension office is funding anything to do with killer bees anymore. Now, I did hear someone, wasn't it in Tennessee, that the Department of Ag there had determined that all of the feral hives in Tennessee were Africanized.
Oh, really? They said 100% saturation.
Yeah, of the feral hives. Yep, 100%
in
saturation.
Tennessee.
In Tennessee. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So, and you know, we, like I said, we catch a lot of flack from people. I had an email from a guy this morning in Colorado. It keeps bees up there, and oh, he was angry with me. He was like, you know, we don't have killer bees in Colorado. Oh,
Bullshit.
they've been found in Alberta. They've been found, the Africanized bees in Madison, Wisconsin. They don't skip over states. So what this brings me to is denial. People are in such denial about Africanization, and we catch a shitload of flack, as everyone knows. You know, the Killer Bee Nation knows. It just, I don't care. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, Colorado is highly saturated.
Oh yeah.
There's no
Of the-
question.
Of the unmanaged feral hives.
Yeah.
We're talking about that anywhere we're talking about.
Yeah, we're always talking about feral, unmanaged honeybee
Right,
hives.
right.
Because anybody can requeen. Of course, if you're a hobbyist, you know,
You're gonna have to requeen
you're gonna go
every
broke.
week, and it's
You're-
not
you're-
cheap.
You're gonna go broke.
Yeah, you're gonna go broke.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, we're seeing more and more attacks. This is, you know, I'm seeing news outlets calling this the summer of the bees, right? Of course, they're not delineating, well, which bees. There's thousands and thousands of species of bees.
Right.
So what are we talking about? Well, it's the summer of, it's killer bees. And they're not saying that. They're not going to say that because, frankly, it's politically incorrect.
Yeah. It's controversial
Right,
because you don't want to piss off the general public because they're misled
right.
about what's needed for
everybody likes
pollination. Oh, we're gonna
honeybees.
die without honeybees is bullshit.
At some point, though, enough people are going to get really hurt and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately even die. That's what it's going to take. And then you're going to have some, you know, possibly some more responsible, you know, reporting on the issue.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I never thought after 30 years of dealing with these Africanized bees that it would be cutting edge everywhere else in the country. I never saw that coming.
Right.
Even I didn't think they could live where it was cold.
Yeah.
I used to be the biggest bee hugger in the world until I realized the truth. And you know, when you're presented with the truth, honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. Do you just go right into denial and say, well, he's full of shit and I'm going to keep him bees anyway? I mean, if you want to keep bees, just realize what you're doing.
Yeah.
Realize what's happening. You're promoting invasive species. So when people on our social media, when we're doing bee removal, we get endless people going, why don't you requeen? Why don't you relocate? Well, we do not support invasive species anywhere. Especially in this, our main focus, of course, bees and native pollinators. That's what this whole conversation is about with us, that and saving people's lives and animals' lives from these damn killer bees. Right? Have we got any good comments from anybody down there?
Well, you're European and you are living in the desert. It's the same thing.
Except I don't go around killing everything. I guess I do just by living.
I mean, we do defecate a couple times.
I defecate
a couple
more
times
than
a
that.
day.
Actually, I'm pretty good at pooping. I really
Yes,
am.
yes.
I'm a professional.
I've heard that about
Oh,
you.
really? Is that on the wall? I
No,
don't want
just-
to talk about that. I start my own rumors about myself in this small town. You have to, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time they get back to me, I'm like, fuck, I'm good. I didn't know I could still do that. It's like, wow.
You know, everything in time becomes naturalized,
Right.
But we're
I mean,
not
if you want to
there.
go back far enough, this was all under water at one point.
Right.
And so, we're all everything here is invasive, including the trees, because there ain't no fish.
Yeah,
Really?
right.
I mean, really?
In
calm
a
the fuck down.
thousand years, we can have that conversation about
Right.
bees.
Right now, they're invasive.
Right now, they're invasive. They're hurting our native pollinators. They're hurting our native plants. They're hurting regional biodiversity. Number one, and number two, they're a threat to people. They're a threat to, we remove hives from places where there's children, playing.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the life of these kids is more valuable to me as a human than, the damn beehive.
Look what someone just said. Trolls are invasive to
and
the TikTok.
trolls are invasive to TikTok app. So
the TikTok
fuck
chat.
you.
We're here. We're here to get rid of trolls. I wish we could. God, is that? Thank you, boy. Is that the truth? Trolls are invasive.
You know, I'm going to say this about
To all
trolls.
social media.
Because I did a little bit of trolling back in the day. I mean, it was like the early 2000s, and I can't even believe this shit still goes on. Like, get over it. Get over it.
Yeah.
You guys, seriously, if you're trolling, you're a fucking vampire.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You got to move out of your mother's basement.
Get a life.
Take up beekeeping anyway. Uh, so anyway, no, so they're invasive, they're horrible, and you know it used to actually even pain me to say it that people that keep bees are supporting invasive species. But somebody put a good hat on you there. That was awesome. Thank you, TikTok. Throw some hats on Ho, Shell. I got my own, damn it. Right. That was awesome. You guys could have seen that on YouTube. You'll see it later on TikTok. Anyway, so then I got over it. It's like, wait, see, isn't that a great,
Yeah, that's
a good,
amazing.
Good hat.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a good hat. Yeah. So anyway, if you're a small beekeeper, you're supporting invasive species in the Western Hemisphere. There it is, just the way it is. If you doubt me, I don't give a shit. Do your research. Don't believe me. Do your research. There were no honeybees in the state of Arizona before 1872. None. That's right. They're documented. They got into California first because of the gold rush, 1850.
Right. It's trippy.
Oh, now you're a TikTok fan. You had a baseball hat on.
Yeah.
See, I come with my own hat.
It doesn't work.
Shouldn't suggest they're going to dress me up in some.
I think
other
it's
shit.
just the face that's.
I don't know. Well,
Like,
I
if
think
you lean
it's a
forward,
temporary
you'll get-
thing.
Yes, thank God.
You're not going to wear it home. Holy shit. We never have any fun, obviously. Jesus. How is the Wild West town coming here, Hosh? I mean, you think we should show people what you have going on here? Now, Hosh has been busy making our own bee removal.
Yes.
Can you see it? Did everybody see it?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, can you see it? We got bees.
Yes. They're swarming.
They're swarming. Oh,
they're
we got
balling
the
up
horse
here.
is in trouble. Can everybody see that?
The
Everybody
horse
see it?
is in trouble.
Horse is in trouble.
Those stings
And
are
of course,
going necrotic.
they're in the crotchic. So we got bees infesting this. This is really looking good, actually, Hosh. We're gonna take this to the store in Tombstone and set up. I wonder if we can get some little wires with bees. You know, these little bees dangling off of them. Yeah, I think this is looking really good. That poor horse doesn't look too healthy, though.
No, and I don't know how it even got up there.
Well, I have to. Okay, I did it. Anyway. So, where the hell did we have that? Oh, I moved that thing over, huh? Yeah. So, anyway, you know, it's sad to say, and I want to show everybody one more time while I can, because this is so damn cool. Look at that. What they build their comb around.
What they do.
The things they do. They're so damn weird. All right, well, let's get this. Horse is going to continue infesting the place with bees. And where do we put this? How does that look?
It's called job security.
Job security. Holy shit.
No.
Yeah, if we ain't got bees, we're going to create a problem. If it ain't a problem, we'll create one, right?
You know, the truth is that people ask us all the time, you know, about exterminating them, about ending this.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not going to.
I mean, there is no getting rid of all of them. There just isn't. It's not going to happen. You know what? Can we actually point this in a little?
Yeah.
There we go. So we can get the 9 yards here. Oh man, these IT things. It's Friday. Yeah, you're right. It's Friday. Hell yeah. I don't know why that would happen, but anyway. Is it? It's gonna work, yeah?
Absolutely.
Gonna have to. Anyway. So, you know, this romance that we have with beekeepers, I think it's almost cellular, because humans have been keeping bees for at least 10,000 years that we know of. There are cave paintings that depict people climbing up on cliffs and extracting honey.
Cave paintings where, though?
Huh?
Cave paintings where?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Cave paintings where? In Africa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not in the Americas.
Not in the Americas. There is no record.
Just to belabor that point.
Yes. In fact, do look through history. There is no record of honeybees in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Yeah, we got any other good comments?
Will we eventually have to import honey? No, it's never going to go away. This problem isn't going to go away. See, our job is to inform people
Oh, we can't get rid of them all. Hell no, Jesus.
Our job is to inform
mean,
people
I'm good.
and to protect individuals. So individuals call us and they say, "Hey, I've got a feral hive living under my porch.
Right.
I've got a feral hive living in my soffit."
Yeah.
Now, I saw a beekeeper, talking the other day, or pest management, something like that, talking about how, oh, there are no more honeybees. There are no. It's not that there are more honeybees. Well, that's false. Number one, that's false. Number two, it's not that they're becoming more aggressive. That's also false.
Yeah.
They are
Oh,
becoming
that
more
was
aggressive.
that was an attack in Phoenix, I think.
Right, the attack in Phoenix.
Right.
Of all places, this guy should know
An
this.
exterminator was saying they're not more aggressive. Well, they almost just killed that guy for one.
They
reason.
are more aggressive, and they're getting more and more aggressive. Okay, but the next point is that we're just moving into their space.
Yeah.
We've never ever gone out into the wild and dealt with bees in their space. Every hive we've ever killed has been on somebody's property. So the bees aren't paying the mortgage there.
Actually,
they're
right.
living they're living
They've
rent
been
free.
even if they're on BLM land or state land, you see there is no private property. All right, it's either owned by the state or the feds
Right.
or the county or you. Yeah, see what I mean? Public lands? Yeah, there's public lands. But the time that we have to deal with these Africanized bees is when we get called into. Unless we're having a shitload of fun and out, wandering around. But then when we go bee hunting, we stop at abandoned houses and look from there because we can, because we're, having fun.
But the point is that the bees are invasive.
Yeah.
And we're here to mitigate the threat. We're here to
Right.
mitigate their threat to human life, to
Animals.
livestock life, and to the life of pets. And we've seen livestock die. We've
Oh my
seen
God.
pets die.
We
had
had to drag
friends.
3 dogs out last year out of Naco, out of that yard, dead.
Right.
It's horrible.
They kill dogs all the time.
Yeah. Baby birds.
Yeah.
It's just, they're
Yeah.
fucking nuts.
So they don't belong here, and they're dangerous, and they're screwing up the biome.
Hell of a combo.
So anyway,
so by
they're
what we're doing, actually, we are helping our native pollinators in little tiny amounts.
Right.
We're not getting rid of them all. We're not getting rid of honeybees. All right, you're gonna have plenty of honey. There's no problem with that. We're just mitigating the threat where we get called in to do that, and by doing that, we are helping our native pollinators. Now, honestly, with what we do in the field with the bee removal, that is a very tiny amount of going to helping native pollinators. You know where we do the most good helping native pollinators? Right here. Right here, trying to educate.
Educating people, yeah.
Educate everybody about these damn things. Not just Africanized bees, but European honeybees, which are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. So, we get a lot of flack. Oh, we get called all sorts of names by mainly beekeepers. Now, the general public are genuinely interested. You guys out there in TikTok and YouTube land, you guys are really genuinely interested to find this stuff out. That, wow, honeybees don't belong here? Really? I've been lied to my whole life? Well, is it lies or is it denial by beekeepers for sure, because everybody's in love with honeybees. Why wouldn't you be? Well, until you find out how bad they are for our environment in the Western Hemisphere, yeah, you would be in love with them, right? But when you find out how bad they are for our native pollinators, they are driving to or near extinction a lot of our native pollinators, including bumblebees. Bumblebees are in the endangered species now list for a few reasons, and one of them is Africanized honeybees.
And most people mistake bumblebees and honeybees. They think they're synonymous.
No, they're not.
And they're not.
They're not.
Yeah.
If you study insects at all, you're going to be totally fascinated, of course, and you almost have to focus and become specialized with it, because to study arthropods as a whole package deal is like, holy shit, it's way too big. It's a lot. It's very fascinating, absolutely wonderful. So honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. If you want to help your native pollinators and the pollination of your area, keep some mason bees or something, Now, honeybees are the only ones that make honey. But if you keep honeybees by your, as a small beekeeper to get the honey from them, you're doing a huge disservice to the native pollinators and the native plants
Yeah.
out there. We need honeybees for three things. And you guys, the Killer Bee Nation has heard me say it before. We need honeybees for three things. We like honey. Okay, awesome. That's just really great. We need them to pollinate our fruit trees and gardens, which are mostly invasive, and big agriculture. It's a business, monocropping.
Yeah.
That's
So you
what
got
they're
you got to
needed
wrap
for.
your head around that. Where does your
Yeah.
food come from, and what do
All
you?
the grains. Tell them about the grains.
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting because grain, which is what that's what humans live on.
Yeah.
I mean, your
Wheat,
primary,
rye.
most of your calories are coming from grain.
Mm-hmm.
For
All your
most
pasta,
of us,
all your
for most
pasta.
of us, for 99.9% of y'all, your calories are coming from grain.
Yep.
Wheat, rye, barley,
your carbs.
corn, right? All of this stuff. Okay,
Carbohydrates.
so
Yep.
so none of these are pollinated by
Nope.
winged things. They're all wind pollinated.
Yep.
So this business that you're going to starve without bees,
No, alfalfa is pollinated by honeybees.
right?
In fact, they need it.
Right.
But what's alfalfa used for? Animal feed.
Right.
That's all it's used for.
Right.
In fact, it's really a horrible thing that's happening here in Arizona right now because, and this has to do with our water table. Actually, it's a little bit off topic, but in some countries like Saudi Arabia, it's illegal to raise alfalfa. Yeah, illegal. You know why? Because of the water consumption. So they are buying large tracts of land here in the desert Southwest because there are very few restrictions on sucking the water out of the ground. So it's a real, then those plants need to be pollinated by honeybees. So the honeybee, that we do need them for blueberry pollination. Not if you have wild blueberries, you're not gonna. They up the crop, they yield the crop with monocropping, with the big ag. Okay?
Scale. It's all about scale.
It's all about scale. Oh, it's a party! Holy God! Geez, somebody, good Lord, had trouble with the saloon over here. Anyway,
Bees are getting rowdy.
7 out of 10 crops. Let's see. Wisconsin. What happened to you? Hey, Hallie. Hallie in Wisconsin. Hey, Hallie. I'm from Wisconsin. And guess what? The smart ones get out. Okay, I'm just screwing with you here. I realized at a really young age I wasn't covered with fur. Yeah, so that's why I grew this. No, I'm just fucking with you. Anyway, well, so what do we got going? Anybody on YouTube got some words of wisdom for us?
There's no light at the end of the tunnel. The bottom line is that
It's a train.
It's a train. No, look, basically, the Africanized honeybees are going to take over, and they're upending the biodiversity. And we are here to say, hey, this is happening, and support your native pollinators by growing local plants.
Yeah.
Fuck your lawn.
Yeah. Oh, lawns are horrible.
Get rid of your lawn and plant your lawn
Lawns are horrible.
out with native plants. Find out what plants are native to your particular zone, your particular bioregion,
Plant a garden.
and plant those plants.
Even plant a garden. I mean, Jesus, that's
and
better
and
than
that
a lawn.
helps. That helps on some level.
Better than a lawn.
And you have to act locally with all these kinds of things, but you got to wrap your head around what's going on. And whatever you do, don't order a damn batch of honeybees and set them up in your backyard. That's what we're
You're doing a
saying.
huge disservice to at least a 2-mile radius around there from your hive of European hives. Now, if they're Africanized, it's more like a 3-mile radius because they pollinate and forage in a bigger radius than European bees. European honeybees will forage and pollinate from your hive in your backyard up to a 2-mile radius. Now, everybody loves a corner bar, so they will try to stick closer to home, but they're doing a huge disservice to all of your native plants within a 2-mile radius. So beekeepers associations hate us, small beekeepers hate us, but we're on the forefront, on that cutting edge of information about this and spreading the word out there. Don't keep honeybees. So who's in Sierra Vista? Oh, we don't have Bisbee. We have a store in Bisbee and in Tombstone. And thank you for asking. And of course, you can go to killerbeeguy.com and get some damn money, would you? Also, though, I do want to, and now a word from our sponsor. Anyway, there's the honey that we get. Now, we take the money in the honey. When we go You can see it in all the videos. When we go get honey from sheds and walls and all that shit, we take the money in the honey. All right, so it's wild crafted. If you want to go to killerbeeguide.com and get some honey, please do. And then also, if you want to jump onto YouTube and support us, man, it really does help with our day-to-day operations.
Oh yeah, become a member.
Yeah, become a member. Yeah, we got 3 levels right now. Drone, of course, worker bee, and queen bee. And with the queen bee level, you get a jar of honey sent to you every month. If you're in the United States, okay, we can't send them all over the world. Sorry, not yet.
We are exploiting and exterminating killer bees.
Absolutely.
We're exterminating them, and we're stealing their honey, and we're flipping it, and we're selling it.
Totally Vikings.
And
we're not double dipping, triple dipping.
And we're also making movies about it.
Yeah.
So there.
So there. So there.
Just so you know, that's what's happening.
That's what I said, triple dipping. We're making movies about it, take the money and the honey. You know? It's like, hell yeah.
Yep.
You know,
so
but they make up twice as much honey, so that's a good thing for us. You know, most people that have to deal with them say, "Who gives a shit?" You know, they make twice as much. Who cares? I don't want to go get it. Well, that's what we do, and you can see from the vids that we never have any fun doing it.
We never have any fun doing it.
Not at all. We have to have a company meeting about that.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's horrible. Him whimpering in the truck, the fire truck, all day long. We don't have any fun, and I'm like, you know, you're going to ride them back again. What did we say?
Hold on, let's see. I keep Minnesota hygienics here in Missouri. Should I be concerned about killer bees?
What's hygienics?
I would never, I don't know what that is, but are you going to get killer bees in Minnesota? They're already there.
Yeah.
It's, again, it just comes down to what's the saturation rate.
Right.
In Tennessee, 100% of the feral unmanaged honeybee hives are Africanized.
That's from the Department of Ag.
According to the Department of Ag. They've determined that here in Arizona as well.
Back in 98.
In 98, they determined that 25 years ago. Now, the situation doesn't reverse. It doesn't matter how much you requeen.
No.
The situation isn't, it's over.
No.
So basically what it means is that when you're out hiking in the state of Arizona, and you come across a tire and there's bees coming and going out of the tire,
oh my God,
you stay away from it.
I mean, look at Dire Tires video on YouTube and TikTok. Dire Tires, right here. I mean, big truck tires out of the middle of bumfuck, and you'll see how damn mean they can be.
Yeah.
You know, they killed a bee. They killed a hiker in Phoenix a couple of years ago. He was a mountain climber. He was rappelling down a cliff. Okay. And it was like a 100-foot cliff, and he got halfway down, ran into this Africanized beehive, that's all there is, and they found his body swinging. Lovely, right? These damn bees went up all the way up to the top and killed his dog.
Right. After they killed him.
They get so riled up that it's pheromones. It's all about pheromones, the smells. All right, pheromones are smells. There's millions of them. Like an orange probably has 10,000 smells, different isolated smells. So communication with a lot of different insects and animals, of course, but with insects in particular, pheromones. So once that attack pheromone is released, all hell breaks loose. And I've said it. The Killer Bee Nation has heard me say it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I've seen the air so saturated, just the wind carrying it around. The bees, other hives within 100, 200, 300 yard radius are attacking because they smell that pheromone. And even though every hive is an enemy of every other hive, the only reason they visit each other is to steal honey, they come in because the alarm pheromone's the same. The car alarm is the damn same. So they come in and attack, and they attack each other. They attack us. They attack birds flying overhead. They kill baby birds. They sting tires on trucks and telephone poles. I mean, really, it just turns into mayhem. So what I tell people is when these bees go off, when they light up, they all turn into white blood cells. That's the best analogy I can come up with for it. Because white blood cells, attack whatever is invading your body and sacrifice themselves. Same thing with these bees. It's a kamikaze mission. Yeah. Who else we got talking at us here? Is a hive or someone ever set up at your house? Good question. Did you see that? Somebody asked, has a hive ever set up a swarm ever set up at your house? It happens once to twice a year here at the ranch. They just don't. They're not that bright, are they?
We're a swarm.
Yeah, a swarm
Sets
like
up.
the little tree out here.
Yeah.
I've had in one year, only about 3 years ago, 2 swarms within a week
Yeah.
landed in that damn thing. And then we have a tree down here on the driveway, a nice big oak tree that was hollow, and a guy working for me was weed whacking. Yeah, right here and got chased off. Well, those bees ain't too bright. Guess it's like you don't know what you're doing. You're gonna die. is
Well,
you're gonna do.
what do you say in this county? 4 kinds of people.
Oh yeah, well there are 4 types of people in Cochise County. That's after 30 years of me doing this. There are people who have called me, people who will call me, people who will call us again because we guarantee it for 2 years, and of course, those who should have. And
Yeah.
half of those are dead.
The shoulds are bad news.
Yep, they're in the hospital. They're dead.
They're in
They
bad
fucked
shape.
up. They thought they could get away with it. They thought that they could, take their flamethrower or their soapy water or their cinnamon or whatever the fuck they're stupid. This is not a DIY channel. I keep saying
I'll
that.
tell you one of the worst things you can do. So let's say you got honeybees, and again, I don't care what state you're in. You're playing Russian roulette. It's just a question of how many bullets are in your revolver, okay?
Yep.
But where you see bees coming and going, and you spray Raid
Oh my god.
into the hole.
Happens every day. It
The
drives me
worst
nuts.
thing you can do. What happens when they do
You're
that?
ringing the doorbell. That's all you're doing. When you see bees coming and going out of a hole or a crack like that, whether it's in a hollow tree or under your shed or in your barbecue, I don't care where it is, that's the airport. All right? That's not the city, that's the airport. You can't tell the size of practically any city by looking at its airport. That's the loading dock. That's where they're coming in. I get calls every week. Somebody will say, well, there can't be too many. I only see a couple dozen. Okay. An average hive used to have 50,000 bees in it. Used to have. Now, with the Africanization, they are so much better at everything they do that we are seeing hives every day of 100, 200, 300,000 bees. It's insane when you realize that it only takes 500 stings to equal a snake bite. Yeah. So, way overkill. Way overkill.
Yeah.
Who else we got talking?
In fact, up until recently, up until this horrible thing that happened in Nicaragua,
Oh my
the
god,
biggest-
the bus. Oh shit.
the biggest stinging incident in history happened right here in Bisbee
Yep.
And
in
it was-
1998.
in 1998, and it was when an individual sprayed Raid
That's
into
exactly right.
into a hole.
Yep. And that was really a game changer for me personally, because I knew they were not nice. I knew I'd already stopped my beekeeping here. And this guy had a wild hive up the gulch, up past St. Elmo's Bar, the most infamous bar in the world. I know, I used to live there. Well, under the bar. Anyway, he sprayed some Raid in the hole, and he didn't know anything about Africanization. He just wanted to get rid of the bees. They started boiling out. Now, he didn't even get stung. He just went back in his house. Then he started hearing the screams. 17 people stung, 8 people in the hospital, killed a dog. By the time I got there, the police and fire department were in the hospital. No, I mean in the hospital. And for 2 weeks, we had to put up warning signs and everything on that street. For 2 weeks, there were angry bees bouncing off the windshield mad.
Yeah.
Now, that record held until about a month ago.
God.
Yeah, about a month ago, Nicaragua. What Nicaragua? I mean, that's right. I need some more agua. Nicaragua. And one of our Killer Bee Nation sent us this link. Thank you so much. Was that Lee? Might have been Lee Ramsey or
I can't remember.
I can't remember who it was either. But anyway, this bus went down it was a bus accident. Went down an incline in the jungle, and like 120 feet, dum-dee-dum-dee-doo, through jungle. Everybody survived that. At the bottom, they hit a damn beehive, a wild Africanized hive. Killed 6 people, right?
Oh God, it's terrible.
Killed 6 people.
6 people dead, including an 8-year-old girl and her mother.
Yeah, sent another 14 people to the hospital. we're going to be seeing a lot more of this in this country.
Yeah.
In every state. Now, there was an attack in Manhattan
Yes.
over the winter. Over the winter, there was an attack in
Imagine
Manhattan.
that, Manhattan in the winter.
What the hell, you know?
Yeah.
These things, wherever they are disturbed, it doesn't make any difference what the temperature is. All right? They will not just go, we'll wait until tomorrow to come out and attack because it's 20 degrees out. No. They will still come out. Remember I said they turn into white blood cells. They will still come out and fly the, however far it is, the, before they get cold enough to drop out of the air. They will fly maybe 10 yards or 20 yards. But that's thousands of them. And so you can't outrun them, even if it's that cold out. So anywhere that they get disturbed at pretty much any temperature, I'm sure that 20 below would not, it'd probably stop them. That probably what I grew up with, that shit. Stopped me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But they will attack. They will attack. So they're all over the country, and there's no stopping them. We're not getting rid of all of them. And, you know, this bullshit about, because of you, we're gonna starve. Well, no, you might need to lose some weight, but it won't be because of us. And you know, it's so stupid that when people realize that honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere, they do not belong here, and beekeepers, man, we catch so much flack for this shit, and we're so hated. Beekeepers are helping and promoting an invasive species.
Enabling.
Ennibbling, yeah. Well, no, that's what I
enabling.
used to call my goats. I called them nibblers.
Nibblers.
Yes. And they're helping to drive to extinction our native pollinators. Not good. The truth hurts, whatever. I don't give a shit. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, the facts don't care about your feelings.
No, they're kind of like me.
And the killer bees don't care about your feelings either.
No, they don't give a fuck.
And they don't care about your narrative.
You know, that's what I really hate about them the most.
What?
They don't care about my feelings. They just don't. I go and I don't care. I don't care what's wrong.
No, they don't care. They're coming. So, and there's no, and you know, so again, what's the answer? The solution is, like most things, awareness. Be aware.
Right.
And get with the facts of what's going on, and understand that.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two is, if you see bees coming and going out of any place, no matter where you are, don't call a beekeeper.
Nope.
Call an exterminator.
That's right. That's right.
That's
now,
it.
in Europe, where they belong, it's illegal to kill bees in England. Well,
That's gonna
now there's
change.
Africanized bees
That's
there.
gonna change.
Now there's Africanized bees in England.
Yeah.
So that's going to change.
They're gonna have.
Now, this is another scary thing, actually, because, okay, you think Africanized bees in England, where European honeybees are native. That's where they're from. Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's where honeybees belong. They do not belong in the Western Hemisphere. All right. Africanized bees in the native habitat of European honeybees. That throws a whole nother wrench in the works. Because they will, this is an invasive species. Africanized bees are invasive no matter where they are. It doesn't make any difference. Because they were created. They're a Frankenbee. They were made by man. So the crossbreed, the Africanized bee, in the environment of native honeybees, are going to change that game completely. They are going to wipe out those native European honeybees. Because that's what they do. They did here in the desert Southwest. They are doing it now in the rest of the lower 48 states. And I predict, I've been saying, 10 years for a long time now, that before all of the unmanaged feral hives in the country are Africanized, I'm bumping it up to 5 years.
Well, I mean, look at what's happening this year. You know, look at the amount of activity.
Well,
that we're
yeah, the
seeing
one on news reports.
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
So just more increased stinging incidents
Yep.
all over the place.
Yep.
So you got to be aware. So if you're getting attacked by bees, all right, number one, support your native pollinators. Plant native plants in your yard. Find out what the native species of plants are in your area, in your region, and plant those species.
This is neat.
Number two.
I have a research paper from the University of Idaho. You could read about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It would be neat. I don't know what you're talking about, but it'd be fun to know. So anyway, sorry.
Number two If you see bees coming and going, if you see honeybees, I've got to be specific. If you see honeybees coming and going
Not bumblebees.
out of a soffit, not foraging on your plants, but we're talking about coming and going out of a hole, someplace on your property, out of a void, call an exterminator.
Yeah.
Number 3, if you're getting attacked by bees, they're ganging up on you, they're stinging you, you need to cover your head and head for cover. Never ever jump in water.
Nope.
You'll drown, they'll sting you, you get trapped under there,
Yep.
you come up, they're stinging you, they're following your CO2, okay?
I had an email from a guy in East Texas, in Bayou country actually, and he was out fishing just last couple of weeks ago with his buddies, and they were way back in bumfuck. They'd set up camp and they had their boat. It's all Bayou country, miles and miles of water and swamp, and alligators everywhere. He said, and they were back. They got into a good fishing spot, he thought, and they tied off to a stump. Apparently, that stump was full of killer bees, because the moment he put his rope over the stump, a couple of them bounced off of him. Well, he didn't think anything of it, and he sat back down on the boat. And within, he said, like seconds, all 4 guys were covered in bees. So they're in the middle of nowhere. He keeps trying to go and get the rope off of the stump. He can't. Every time he goes near it, he's worse, and he doesn't think it would be worse. He's got alligators all around him. So what does he do with that? He jumps out of the course.
Sorry.
We had a little party there. He jumps out of the boat, of course, right? I need to replace that thing. Here we go. There we go. So he jumps out of the boat, and somebody at the saloon got excited there. Ooh, what happened to our... We lost part of our screen. So he jumps out of the boat into the water with the damned... oh, there we go. Now we got it. With the alligators. He goes under the boat trying to get away from them. One thing that really stuck in my brain was every time he would come up to breathe, of course, he'd get them all full of bees. That's what they do. So he finally jumped back in the boat. His buddies were hunkered down in the boat, trying to cover themselves with whatever they could. Well, they all finally realized this bullshit, we're going to die. So they just simply started up the motor, got the rope out there, just full on attack, and they motored a ways away, like a couple of miles away. They thought that might be far enough so they could see if they had cell service, because they didn't have cell service. And if anybody was allergic, they were going to call for 911 and get a helicopter out there or whatever, Coast Guard, whatever. Well, the bees, after 2 miles, were just like they never left. They stopped the boat.
After 2 miles?
After 2
that
miles.
didn't register when you told me the story.
Yeah, 2 miles, and they got it totally attacked again.
I'm not surprised.
Totally attacked. So then they were like, oh my God, fuck this, we're going to die. And they hightailed it back the miles and miles within the boat, full speed ahead, to camp. The bees didn't follow them that far. He said they spent that night drinking Benadryl and picking stingers out of each other and are lucky to be alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 So again, you've got to get, if you're being attacked by bees, excuse me, if you're being attacked by honeybees, they're killer bees. Okay? If
Yeah.
you're being attacked by honeybees,
Yeah.
guarantee
Especially
you
feral.
they're Africanized.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter at that point. You've got to cover your head and
Are you
head
gonna
for
risk it?
cover your head and head for cover. You've got to get inside. Get inside a car, get inside a house, get inside a shed, but you've got to get inside
Don't
someplace.
jump in water.
They'll follow you in. You're probably still going to get stung, but then eventually they'll start flying towards the light. They want to get out of there.
Yeah, they'll go to the windows.
They get confused.
They get confused after a while. It's hard to think when you're getting attacked. It is. It's next to impossible. But you got to, or your life's at risk. It's really that bad.
You know, it's interesting because actually the first time I got stung up on a job really bad with you was Willie's War.
Oh, that's
Actually.
true. Oh, and Hosh did it.
And I did it.
He ran
I
right by
did
the
it.
truck.
I had my glove came away from my suit.
Yep, and
My
started
wrist
getting
was
nailed really
exposed,
bad.
and they started stinging up my wrist.
Bam, 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 bam.
And I
Painful as fuck
ran
right there.
past the truck doing this.
Yep, thinking they're not going to outrun them. And I'm in the
It
truck.
just-
Get in the truck.
Yeah.
You know, now people, they don't, and I've seen it a 1,000 times. The people will run right by an open door of a truck because they don't want to bring the bees in the truck. Okay, you're not thinking logically when this is happening. It's better to bring 100 bees into the truck with you than to stay out with 100,000.
Yeah.
and everybody runs down the road. You can't outrun them. You can't outrun them. But it's amazing how even being a logical person and a thinking person like you are, that when that happens, you just ran right by the damn door.
Well, and you told me 100 times, if you're getting stung, get in the truck.
Yeah.
If you're getting stung,
Of
get
course.
in the truck.
You know, until it happens to you and you put it into practice,
Right.
it doesn't register.
Right.
When it's cellular,
Yeah.
or life or death, yeah, then you damn
Now,
right.
now it's a whole different thing. If I'm getting stung,
Now he smiles.
I
He's
shrug it
sicko.
off. I shrug it off, and I go, I'm
Shrug it.
okay.
He cries like a little girl. Good shit. The fuck. Anyway.
No,
Well, so do I. I mean, I'm
certain
just saying. You know,
yeah.
it's like,
certain stings are worse than others.
And no, I didn't get stung on the nose. One of my kitties loves me too much. So if anybody's wondering about that,
Yeah, they were actually somebody. Was
One night I
asking
went
me.
at the saloon in the Wild West town.
Yeah,
Ocean's making good progress in this infestation
I
over
am.
here.
I'm not his son.
No. Oh no. No, I had that vasectomy a long time
He
ago.
has no sons.
No.
Yeah.
No children, no marriage. You know, people ask me, and I just love telling the story because it actually did happen one time, and I think I was at the bar or something, you know, at St. Elmo's or whatever. Somebody said, you know, how come you never got married or had children? And I thought a minute, and I said, just lucky, I guess.
He was lucky.
Just lucky. Well, anyway, so anyway, let's goodness sake, let's go ahead and I think we can wrap this up. We'll show
Yeah.
everybody what the infestation that we're gonna have to. How are we gonna get all those bees off of there?
We're gonna have to call somebody.
Oh,
we're gonna have to call
yeah.
call an
I
exterminator.
know a guy. Yeah,
We've got
I
to.
think we should call a beekeeper. What do you think about that?
Do not call a beekeeper.
You guys are wondering that just joined us what the fuck we're talking about. We'll show you in a second. We have a Wild West town that's become infested with killer bees. Just check it out. Just stay tuned for a second.
Now listen, if anybody's interested in this line of work, which I don't know why you would be, but but if
therapy didn't
but
work.
seriously, if you
obviously.
want to help and help, you know, your neighbors and your county and all this kind of stuff, you know, protect
Don't do it
people,
unlicensed.
protect people against killer bees.
You
Don't
will get
watch
into-
our
you will
videos
get in
and do
trouble.
it unlicensed. That's a really bad idea.
Oh,
It'll
it's not
hurt
a
you.
DIY channel. Period.
Yeah. So contact your local pest management division.
Yep.
And figure out what
Department
you
of
need to do.
Agriculture in your state. Yep. And if you're in the state of Arizona and you're removing bees illegally, watch out because the state is going to come down hard on you now. And because these are killer bees, you shouldn't be doing this shit. All right, you need to be licensed and educated how to do it.
Yeah.
I teach for the state, and I teach my competitors how to do this safely,
Yeah.
so they won't get someone killed. I didn't say they listen to me, okay?
Right,
But
right.
you know, for continuing education and whatnot. So, do not do this shit illegally. And if you're a homeowner in the state of Arizona, especially in Cochise County here, and ask, you know, if you have someone that is saying, you know, says, "Oh, I'll take care of those bees for you." If they're not licensed, you can get screwed hard if someone gets, you can, liability, you can lose your house. I'm an expert witness. And every single case I've ever been on, the person with the bees loses. And so just don't do it. All right?
Yeah.
Don't do it illegally. Get your fucking self licensed and whatnot.
Yeah, just get
Don't be-
licensed, jump through the hoops.
Yeah, and our channel is not a damn do-it-yourself. We do have a section in YouTube, you know, a few videos. I call it DIY, right? Yeah, I call it DIY dumbass. Don't try this at home. Okay, so
Yeah.
leave the killer bees to the professionals. That's all there is to it, you know. Well, shit. Have we got any last minute? Anybody want to tell us how fucking wonderful? No, he's not my damn son. Anyway, God, we love having you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys want to support what we do, please, because we need all the help we can get.
Oh, look at this. I grew up in Arizona. I think I'll stay in Georgia. Y'all are beed to death. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
There's fucking killer bees all over the place out here.
Yeah.
But listen, they're in Georgia too.
Yeah, sorry.
Georgia is up and coming. Georgia is near 100% saturated.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I'll wait for the USDA to kind of put the nail in that coffin, but they will.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a done deal. It's really hop over to become a member on YouTube. We're trying to set up the subscription thing on Facebook also. Haven't figured that shit out yet. But I'd like to thank you everybody so much for becoming members on YouTube. Really appreciate it. It helps so much with the day-to-day expenses, and you get special privileges, of course, and shit like that. But we really just what is this? Somebody muted for this hive? Oh, someone. What was that? Moderator. Oh, good.
Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, moderator. Yeah,
Yeah.
some people just are.
You guys are,
assholes.
we love our moderators. And, somebody asked, are they in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, but saturation right now in the state of Pennsylvania is low. Right now.
Yeah, if it's
It's
20%.
But next year it could skyrocket.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. This is the better bee. This bee wins.
Yep.
Just, you got to get that into your head. This
And-
bee wins the evolutionary fight
Yeah.
for who runs
Not
things.
just against European honeybees, but against native pollinators.
This bee wins.
Yeah.
It's just over. This
Right.
bee wins. It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
So they're in all the lower 48
They're in
states.
Florida. They're in Alabama. Thank you for asking.
Florida's almost 100% saturated.
Yep. Yeah, they're
Alabama
they're in
is
Michigan.
almost 100% saturated. They are in Michigan. Saturation
They're in
is a
Montana.
bit lower in Michigan than in Florida,
Right.
but they're still there, and it's going to explode.
Why risk it for crying out
Don't
loud?
risk
If you
it.
wanna
That's
play,
the point.
If you want to play Russian roulette, please get a real one. Get a. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
No,
like it's like playing Russian roulette, but only one cylinder is empty.
Yeah.
Instead of, only one has a bullet in it. It's really not good. So
Anyway,
thank you so much, you guys.
hey,
We
thanks
really
for tuning in, everybody.
If you want to get some of this wonderful honey, where is that jar of honey? Oh, we got to show everybody what's going on here
yeah,
anyway.
look at
Let's get an opinion. We need some opinions on Hosh's
Killer
job
bees
of
are-
infesting the Wild West with killer bees. Oh my God, I'm scared to death.
Yeah,
Can
see-
everybody see that, Hosh? Can you see if everybody can see that?
Well, let me flip this around.
Oh, there you go. Let's flip it around so we can see what the hell's going on. That's a good idea. I'll be official. I'll be the mayor here. I'll be the mayor. There's killer bees everywhere. We need to call someone.
Yes, please call the killer bee guy. Call Reed Booth.
Yes, call. Yeah, if you're in Cochise County, do it now. And if you do have bees in Cochise County, it's 520-227-5429. You can Google us, Killer Bee Guy. You can find us everywhere. But look at this wonderful job that Hosh did infesting this Wild West town
Yes,
with killer bees. Isn't it just? It's
they're
working out
completely
really well.
invading.
Yeah, they're
So-
just taking it over.
Yeah, there it all is.
Yeah, I think that they just lost some business. But thank goodness this store sells killer bee honey. Now I got to warn you guys out there about killer bee honey. The guys, this is for the guys. It's good for your stinger. Okay, I came up with that years ago. Anyway, this is a pure mesquite. You see how light that is? Pure mesquite. The lighter our honey in the neck, and it crystallizes just by looking at it. This is totally crystallized, which is a good thing, actually. Honey never goes bad. So if you don't like it crystallized, it's a texture thing, just warm it up. But mesquite honey is, the more mesquite flowers the bees are messing with, the lighter the honey in our neck of the woods. And then as they get into people's fruit trees and gardens and wildflowers, honey gets darker. So the only difference between different types of honeys is not Africanization and European, it's the type of flowers the bees are messing with. So that's just a fact of life. So thank you so much, you guys. We love having you guys with us. Please go to killerbeeguy.com and get some honey. Please. And also, of course, join up on YouTube, become a member. Really appreciate it. And we appreciate our members so much, our Killer Bee Nation. I know you guys miss us out in the field. We have some family Killer Bee Nation that are with us on all the removals. We hope you guys will come with us too. Next week we're going to be, I know it's going to be 90 degrees here. The bees are going to be buzzing. Watch some of our other vids. Watch our pinned vids on TikTok. It'll help explain a lot what we're talking about our native pollinators versus honeybees. Please watch. And then also we got some holy hell removals you can see. I mean holy hell. Like portal to hell. Even me got my attention. It's like, wow, this is really stupid what I'm doing. Anyway, but it's so much fun. After 30 years of doing it, it's no big deal. Love you guys. Thank you so much for coming with us. Say goodbye, Hosh.
Hey, thanks for being with us today, gang. I know something a little different where we're actually
Paying attention.
putting the bees in and instead of taking the bees out.
Look at the killer bees.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming along. Really, I know a lot of you have heard about all this. This isn't new information, and you're here just because you love our charming personalities, and that's wonderful.
Well, mine anyway.
You guys are great. His charming personality, yes. Anyway, I I hate to say it, but I bet we're doing bees this weekend. I'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
very,
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
very surprised if we don't get some emergency calls. I'm hoping for a weekend off. We'll see what happens.
Well, if we get bees this weekend, I'm going to bury the hatchet right in their little heads. Yeah. Anyway, I love you guys.
And anyway, stay tuned. It's getting much warmer out. We went through a dip, and now it's warm and still, and the bees love that. So you're going to be seeing more bee action. See you guys later. Take
Love ya.
care. Support your native pollinators and plant native plants in your yard.
Have you actually got that point in the right way?
Yeah, I think so.